Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be ranking the TV Masters from worst to best. Now, I haven't heard enough of Big Finish Masters to really have an opinion on them, and I will be ranking the TV Masters by their TV appearances. I know they show up in Big Finish in different stories as well, but I'm going strictly off TV stuff. The TV movie, the TV show, etc. From worst to best, and if I'm doing this right, there are 8 of them, I believe, if I'm looking at this right. I will be doing the Peter Pratt, Jeffrey Beaver's Master just as one incarnation because they are the same incarnation. They won't be separate on the list, so they'll just have, the Crispy Master will have one place on the list. So, going from worst to best, in 8th place at the bottom is the John Sims Master. I don't really get into the Master being kind of nuts, crazy, insane, like, excuse me, my sinuses are still acting up, like he is a lot. It's really hard with Sims Master because all 3 times we see him, he's very different. We see him in Series 3, we see him in the End of Time 2-parter, and then we see him in the World Enough in Time 2-parter. And he's portrayed very differently all 3 times. Now, my favorite portrayal of him is definitely the World Enough in Time 2-parter. He's a little more serious. He still has some cringe moments, like when he tells Missy, "Is it wrong that I'm thinking about?" "Yes, it is. I'm very much over there going at that." But he is more serious. He feels a little more like the Masters at times, like the fact he doesn't want to listen to the doctors, like, you know, "I didn't listen to a word you said." The fact that him and Missy turn on each other is very, very the Master. So I like him there. He's fine in the End of Time 2-parter. I do think the whole plan to make everyone basically him is kind of silly. But his performance in it, I like. There's more of an edge to him there than there was in the Series 3 part. He feels more dangerous because he's desperate and trying to live, and I like that. Him and Tennant go really well off each other, which they always do. Him and Tennant bounce off each other really well. They have good chemistry. It's his Series 3 performance, which comes across as like Daffy Duck, you know, like Looney Tunes silly at times. Like when he poisons everybody in the room and stuff, and he's just, and, you know, it's a little too cartoony and silly. And John is playing it fine, but it doesn't feel like the Master to me. It just feels like a character. It would have been fine as a character, but it doesn't fit how I think of the Master, personally. So it's mostly that first performance that really brings him to the bottom for me. I don't really, as much as I love Series 3, I don't like his portrayal of the Master in it. Number 7 on the list is Sacha Dhawan. Partially for the same reason, he's a little more nuts at times here than I like. Now, Sacha's Master is very intelligent, he's very manipulative, he's very cunning. And it's a good performance. Again, Sacha's playing him well. I just don't like some of the more insane moments. I don't really like the insane Master that much. I also don't like the thing that he apparently destroyed Gallifrey, but that's an issue I have with the writing, not necessarily with him. But I like that we got to see him several times and that he showed back up and, of course, faced off against Whitaker in her final story. It's a good performance. I have a hard time sometimes taking him seriously. He's a little too silly. As much as I love the Rasputin dance, that was awesome. But I do have a hard time taking him seriously. He's a little too clownish, like Series 3 John Sims, which I don't like for the Master. Number 6 on the list is the Burned Master, the Crispy Master, the Peter Pratt, Jeffrey Beaver's Master. I like this Master, especially his Deadly Assassin design, more so than the more makeup look they went for in Keeper of Traken. I think both of the actors do fine. I really like Peter Pratt's voice work a little better, but Jeffrey's voice work is fine. I like, again, this is a master who's on the edge. He's desperate, he's dangerous, he's backed into a corner, he's doing whatever it takes to live. This is a doctor that, this is a master that very much wants to kill the doctor and embarrass him. Lord over him, haha, I outsmarted you, and then kill him, and then in Keeper of Trocken, he wants to possess the doctor's body. It seems very personal between him and the doctor in a very negative way, like somehow the doctor is responsible for his disfigurement or something. And the master wants to pay him back for that. And there's no real friendship between them, like there are a lot of other incarnations between the doctor and the master. You can kind of see the old friendship buried in there. Not really with this incarnation. Whatever embers were there are gone at this point. He just wants the doctor either dead or he wants to possess his body or something like that. I like his design. I never thought it was necessary since Time Lords can regenerate. I never liked the idea of them having to do that in Deadly Assassin. It seemed silly when they could have just regenerated him after Delgado sadly passed. But I do think the design worked, especially the mask they used in Deadly Assassin. A very deadly version of the master, not one to be trifled with. I wish we'd seen more of him. I know he's in Big Finish a lot, but I would like to have seen more of him in the show. Number 5 on the list is Anthony Ainley. Anthony Ainley, when he can, I think, play the part the way he wanted, is really good, especially in Survival when he plays it like really serious in a large part of Legopolis when he's more in the shadow and you just hear his voice echoing. I love his performance of Tree Mass and Keeper of Trocken. What hurts him is when he has to play it kind of over the top. I don't think that's a choice on his part, but there are times he comes across as like a caricature of Delgado or a parody of Delgado, and other weird story beats like in Time Flight when he's disguised as, I'm not quite sure what he's disguised as. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be offended for some reason, but I can't quite figure out what it is he's actually insulting. But, he comes across as a very pantomime villain at times in some stories. Whereas, again, in other stories like Survival, you really see what he could do with the part. And that's one of the reasons why he ranks this high, but also one of the reasons why he's not any higher. Because when he's able to do what I feel like he wanted to do with it, he's really good. But other times he just feels like a generic Delgado, and that's frustrating. Number 4 on the list, and is usually higher than I would place him on the list. But there are little things I like about his performance, and that would be Eric Roberts' Master from the TV movie. I know a lot of times he's really far down on the list, but one, I like the TV movie. 2, I like little things Eric Roberts does in the TV movie. I think Eric Roberts is one of the best parts of the TV movie. I think McCoy is great. I think Daphne's great. I think Paul McGann is amazing. But I think Eric does a really good job in it as well. I like at the beginning how he's trying to adapt to the body, like when he's talking to the nurse, and you can tell he's trying to acclimate to his new body, but he's struggling. He's not used to having a human body. I enjoyed that, like when he's peeling the skin off. He has some humorous parts in there, like, how am I supposed to go faster? We are an ambulance. I like that. You kill me. You want me to kill you? No. See, I enjoy little things like that. Now, there are parts where he's a little hammy and over the top, like, get it off, get it off, get it. Yeah, there are times where it's kind of. But then I enjoy some of the comedic moments, like when he first meets Lee in the TARDIS, and he's telling Lee who he is and he's telling him about lies about the Dr. Genghis Khan. Yeah, that was him. It has this little comedic tone to it when they're talking, both of their faces right here, and they're talking. I don't know, it's a little funny. And I kind of like the idea of the master with a companion. I don't know why, but I do. I enjoy that scene because I feel like Robert switches gears a lot, like when he's first talking about, hey, the TARDIS likes you. And he hands him the gold, and he's like, you get the rest when I get my body back. Because he doesn't come off as evil there. He comes off, he's smiling, he's laughing, he's being charismatic, or charismatic charisma. He's being charismatic like the Master can be, like Delgado can be. The Master can be very charismatic when he wants, and he actually is right there. I like seeing Roberts bring some of that in. I love the way he does his dress for the occasion line. Is it a little over the top? Yes, but I love it. And it's iconic with his doctor. I love when him and Paul McGann are having that little verbal sparring at the end when he's got Paul McGann chained up and he's getting ready to start trying to absorb his lives. And they're having that little back and forth, and it's getting pretty heated. That's a really good exchange. It's great on Paul McGann's part. It's great on Eric Roberts' part. They're just really getting into that conversation. And you get that these are two people who have a lot of history together. And I love when McGann catches him in that lie about, all your lives. Didn't you tell him I stole your lives? And when he tells Lee to open the eye, Lee's like, no, you lied to me. And you see that look on Eric Roberts' face when he realizes that McGann has kind of conned him. And he looks at McGann and he's like, but then he cuts to that sly, Lee, I would never lie to you. And then, of course, he kills him because the Master decides in that instant of a second, you know what? He's dead. He's dead. But I love the complete change of emotion of just indignant anger at the doctor to that immediate just, Lee. That is really, really good. It's one of my favorite moments in the TV movie. That exchange between them and that part is just really good. That's really good acting on Eric Roberts' part. So again, he has kind of hammy parts like life is wasted on the living, but to me, that's more the effects messing with his voice and his growling. Again, I think some of that's the director. I like the Eric Roberts Master. I know he comes back in Big Finish, but just in the TV movie, I think he's fine. He's doing a lot of little nuanced things that I think a lot of people just don't notice. Is he hammy and over the top in parts? Yes. But he does a lot of little things I really like too. So he tends to rank, at least at this time, a little higher than I think most people would rank him. Number 3 on the list is Michelle Gomez, and there is a huge gap with these top 3. The top 3 are very far above the rest. I love Michelle Gomez, Missy. Now, I actually like her zaniness. Maybe it's just because I have a far easier time buying that a woman can be that unhinged. I don't know. But I love the way she plays it. Michelle Gomez just sells it. I firmly believe that this is a female version of the Master that's a little cuckoo. And I think this is one of the reasons I was able to accept Time Lords being able to change gender and regeneration. I think I would have been far more against it and far more against a female doctor if it hadn't been for Michelle Gomez kind of paving the way here with what she did with Missy. She's just so good in this role. She is always a joy to watch. Even in stories that aren't necessarily good stories, much like Capaldi, she elevates episodes she's in. She's so much fun to watch. She's just a joy. Her and Capaldi have such good chemistry together, and that is a big deal, the chemistry a doctor and a Master have together. They're so good together. I always have fun watching her. She really is the kind of person, she could sit down and have tea with you and be complimentary and smile, or she could sit down and kill you without a second thought. You never know quite where you're going to end up with her Master. You never quite know if she's going to smile at you, kiss you, hug you, or kill you. Perhaps quickly, perhaps viciously. You never quite know with Missy. And it's that kind of, you never know where you stand with her that makes her interesting. Although her having a kind of a redemption arc toward the end of her run is also neat as well, and I enjoy that because it comes across as very genuine, and that's all down to just her performance, which is phenomenal. Number 2 on the list is Derek Jacobi, or I don't know how you pronounce it, Jacobi, however you say it. Going just off of his appearance in Utopia, I know he's in Big Finish as well, and I hear the War Master's great, but I absolutely love him in Utopia. I think this is really the only time in modern Doctor Who where we've had what feels like a classic Master, where he's suave and sophisticated and intelligent, and he doesn't come across as unhinged like all of the modern masters tend to do. He feels like a more sinister version of Delgado. Very proper. The way he talks is very, sophisticated and classy. Not to worry, my dear. As one door closes, another must open. Things like that. I like the fact he's not even killing Chantho at first. He's just running around doing stuff, kind of ignoring her because he doesn't see her as much of a threat. Like when she's telling him to stop, he kind of, before he notices the gun, he kind of just looks at her like he's amused, like, then he's, oh. I like that initial look though when he's just, doesn't even think much of her as he doesn't see her as a threat. Then he's like, now I can say I was provoked. That's just such a good performance. And I mean, he does it even when he does that literal heel turn, when he becomes the master. And you just see that look on his face, and you know it's the master. It's not another Time Lord. That has to be the master. I mean, yeah, you kind of heard the Delgado lines ahead of time anyway from the Daemons, but I hadn't seen the Daemons at that point. I just assumed that was Delgado. But even if you weren't even if you didn't recognize those lines, you just know it's the master. You see the eyes and you're like, holy crap, they're bringing the master back. And that short amount of time we get with him, he is so good. I wish we'd had more time with him in the show because he is just deliciously fun to watch. Every second he's there, he's just owning that part. Again, he comes across as very intelligent, very sinister, and will kill anyone who gets in his way. And if the Doctor can be young and strong, I just love every second I get of him as the master, especially after playing the wonderful Professor. It's such a change, and he pulls it off so well. He's such a good actor. Such a good actor. And number one on the list is, of course, Delgado, the original master. Still the best. I love Roger Delgado. He just is the master for me. His very first scene in Terror of the Autons, he just owns that role. That could be the best master scene in all of Doctor Who, although Utopia is a strong contender for that too. Just the way he does that. I am usually referred to as the master. Is that so? Universally. I love that opening scene. It just really gets across who the master is so well. And then just every story Delgado's in, he is just so good in this role. So good. He has this commanding presence. He has this hypnotic personality. He has this charisma. And it's, again, you could find yourself, if you didn't know who he was, very much liking him. He has that ready smile. He flashes when he needs to. I like how he's complimenting in Terror of the Autons. He's complimenting the guy who owns the factory's dad, while already planning to kill him. You're very strong-willed, dangerously strong-willed. He's complimenting him, and I sincerely think he means the compliment while already planning how he's going to kill the guy to get him out of his way. That's Delgado. He's always so much fun to watch. Like, any story that has Delgado in it makes that story better. I'm not a fan of Claws of Axos, but my God, Delgado is so good in Claws of Axos. And again, I think the best Doctor-Master chemistry is between the third Doctor and Roger Delgado. They are just magnificent when they're on screen together. It's very easy to believe that they were friends in real life because it just comes across on the screen. They're so good together on screen. I want to see another master similar to Delgado's master, where they kind of get away from the unhingedness that Modern Who has done with it, and they do something more like Derek or more like Roger's master, that more serious planning, the Moriarty to the Doctor's Holmes. I really want them to get back and do another incarnation like that. So yeah, Roger Delgado, still my personal favorite, still the best, still the one I enjoy watching the most. I am the master and you will obey me. I just love him. He has such a presence and such a command of that role and such a presence on screen in that role. So, how would you rank the masters from worst to best and why? And what do you think of my list? Comment down below and let me know. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you like what I do and would like to contribute to what I do. There's a link to that down in the description below with several different tiers to look at. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Stephen Crane, and Dr. Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box. If there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review, that's down there as well, as is a link to my Amazon wish list, which I update regularly. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.